So for today's deep dive, we've been handed some really unique source material. It outlines an artistic philosophy that's so extreme, it basically rejects everything we think of as musical comfort.
Hmm.
I mean, what if music was specifically designed to make you feel immense pressure, isolation, even like pure existential dread?
And that's exactly where we're going. We're talking about a genre called Spectral Trench music, or STM. And our entire dive today, it's based on the foundational text, the manifesto really, from the band that created it, Deep League Diver.
They pretty much authored the whole genre from scratch.
Yeah.
And their concept is it's just brilliant and frankly a little terrifying. STM isn't just a style of music, they call it an experience.
Right. It's an attempt to translate a physical feeling into sound. The
Mhm.
feeling of being crushed in the deepest parts of the ocean, the Hadal zone, or maybe lost in the vacuum of space.
And to do that, you have to break all the rules.
You have to. The sources are very clear on this. The goal is to create a feeling of emotional stasis, to make you feel the physics of that pressure. And to get there, they have to reject the very things that make music work. You know, things like momentum resolution, familiar harmony.
It's like they're stripping away all the safety nets. It reminds me of designing a house, but you decide none of the angles will be 90 degrees and the floor is always just a little bit tilted. You're never allowed to feel stable.
That's a perfect analogy. That's the crucial part. Most music gives you that sense of homecoming, A chord resolves and you feel settled. STM, by its very design, denies you that completely. It's not music as entertainment, it's music as an inescapable force.
So how do they actually build this sonic void? Deep League Diver lays it all out in what they call the 3 pillars of STM. Let's start with pillar 1, the spectral. This is the harmonic foundation.
And right away, we run into something called spectral microtonality. This isn't just a minor tweak, it's engineered to sound fundamentally wrong by throwing out the standard 12-tone scale.
Okay, wait. The 12-tone scale, for anyone listening, that's basically the DNA of almost all the music we hear, right? Pop, classical, everything. So just deciding to discard it, how big of a deal is that?
It's a complete restart, artistically. The 12-tone scale is comfortable. The math behind the frequencies is clean, it's predictable, our ears are trained for it. By getting rid of it, Deep League Diver is immediately putting the listener in this completely alien sonic territory.
And the sources even give an example, the 31-tone equal temperament. They use it for tuning their instruments, mostly cellos. So what does that actually feel like to listen to, that microtonal difference?
Well, imagine you're expecting a singer to hit a specific note, a target. Instead, they hit a note that lives in the tiny crack right next to that target. So if our normal scale gives you stable landmarks, microtonality puts you in a kind of sonic fog where every landmark is just slightly out of focus.
And they're not just random notes, are they? The manifesto says they're chosen to mimic inharmonic overtones. Can you break down what an inharmonic sound actually is?
Sure, think of a perfectly tuned guitar string. When you pluck it, the overtones, those higher shimmering frequencies on top, are all neat and mathematically related. That's harmonic. An inharmonic sound is what you get when you hit a piece of metal, or a rock, or a hull of a ship. The overtones clash. They don't line up.
So the cellos are literally tuned to sound like a planet groaning or some distant sonar ping instead of a cello.
Precisely. And for you, the listener, the effect is this constant low-level hum of tension, of alienness. Your brain keeps searching for that familiar pattern, that comforting resolution, and it just never ever comes. It's basically a sustained state of audio-cognitive dissonance. The sound is fundamentally unsettled.
Okay, so the spectral pillar makes the sound itself unsettling. That brings us to pillar 2, the trench. If the sound denies comfort, this pillar must be about denying escape, right? It's the rhythmic structure. They call it exhausted counterpoint.
And this might be the most fascinating part of the whole philosophy. It's a paradox. They start with something from Baroque music counterpoint. Think of fugues or canons, incredibly complex, intellectual, interwoven melodies. They take that beautiful, precise structure, and then they just drown it.
And the speed is how they do it. The sources say it's performed at an unbearably slow tempo, like 20 to 40 beats per minute. For perspective, a really slow heartbeat is around 60. This is just glacial.
That's where the exhaustion comes from. The cello lines are still playing these incredibly intricate patterns, but the pace just strips away any sense of forward momentum. If you hear drums at all, they're just these single heavy pulses, like a heart struggling against immense gravity.
I have to say, when I was listening to a sample, it makes you physically want to push it forward. You get this internal frustration. Is that resistance the point?
Absolutely. It's meant to simulate inescapable inertia. You are stuck. You can hear the incredible effort and complexity in the performance, but the pace denies you the payoff, the release that complexity would normally give you.
It feels like you're trying to wade through deep water or thick mud. It's like musical suffocation, but through slowness. An existential drag.
Yes. The trench pillar makes sure that not only does the music sound wrong, it refuses to move. It denies you any kind of progress or rhythmic release. You're feeling the crushing weight of time itself.
Okay, so we have the unsettling sound from Spectral and the crushing inertia from Trench, which leaves Pillar 3, the diver. This seems to be about the final immersion, the production aesthetic. The term they use is subacoustic fidelity.
This is the step where the music stops being something you just listen to and becomes something you physically feel.
Yeah.
The whole production is designed to sound like it was recorded under extreme duress, like through feeling equipment,
Right.
or from a million miles away. It has to sound pressurized.
Let's start at the low end. The sources talk about sub-bass pressure drones. This isn't just a regular bass synth. It's, contact microphone recordings of metal under stress?
Exactly. Deeply filtered recordings of metal being bent or compressed. The goal isn't just an audible low note, it's a physical vibration. The idea is that you're not listening through speakers, you're listening through the hull of a submarine. You feel it in your chest, in your ribs. It physically reinforces that feeling of being crushed.
And then at the other end, the high end, you have the opposite. Hedal static. This is described as heavily compressed, distorted pink noise.
Yeah, this is the sound of the environment swallowing the signal. It's meant to sound like cosmic static from deep space, or the sound of water boiling around a deep-sea vent, or the high-pitched whine of your life support system starting to fail. It's the constant reminder that the environment is hostile, and you're losing contact.
So you have the physical pressure from below and the whine of isolation from above. But the most visceral detail in this pillar has to be the vocals. Or the lack of vocals, the mouth-gasping vocals.
This is it's pure struggle. It's not singing, it's not chanting, it's not even screaming. It is the sound of the vocalist literally gasping for air into a high-gain microphone. And they do it precisely on the downbeats, as if the breath itself is the only percussion.
It's panic. It's the sound of suffocation. It just injects this desperate, terrified human element right into the cold, inhuman world the music has built. It's the sound of the body failing.
It is. If the sub-bass and static are the external environment, the void, then the gasping is the internal terror of the person trapped inside it. The total effect of this subacoustic fidelity is just complete and total claustrophobia. It's art designed to be physically punishing.
And the definitive statement, where this whole manifesto becomes reality, is Deep League Diver's debut album, Hadal Static. That is, by definition, the purest example of the genre.
And that album really is their final word on it. It's a unique response to the human condition, when we're faced with forces that are just so much bigger than we are. This isn't music for normal reasons. You don't dance to it. You probably won't find it relaxing or contemplative.
No. They're basically using the tools of art to deny the very release that art usually promises. They're asking you to just sit there, unmoving, unresolved, and just face this sublime, terrifying power of the void.
It really pushes the boundaries of what music can be. It's trying to turn an auditory experience into something that is fully tactile and psychological. A challenge.
So we've covered the spectral microtonality that denies harmonic comfort, the exhausted counterpoint that denies forward motion, and the subacoustic fidelity that denies physical safety. If art is so often about catharsis, about release, what happens when a genre is built, piece by piece, to deny all three?
Well, it forces you to confront inertia, doesn't it? By taking away the normal push and pull of music, it just shines a spotlight on the discomfort of being static.
Oh.
The psychological weight of being well and truly trapped. It makes you grapple with the very thing you instinctively want to run from.
That denial of escape. Maybe that's the final provocative thought of Spectral Trench music. Thanks again for sharing these sources with us and letting us take this deep dive into a genre that's literally built on pressure.